Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So today, me and my extremely judgmental dog back here are taking a look at the Aaron Hoult case out of Colorado and the tragic events that took place there. But before we dive into the actual case itself, I want to start off this video in a new light. Unlike what I had been doing previously, I'm going to start off by telling you about the victim. In this case, it's important that we remember the person who was the victim of this crime. They need to have equal opportunity and equal time, and they deserve to be remembered and have somebody say a prayer for them or wish them well in the afterlife, whatever you believe in. See? Look at that look on his face. Come on, Brian. Really. So, this is the victim. Jose Pacheco, I think. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Pacheco? I don't know. You know, I tried looking it up online. I put it into Google Translate, and even Google Translate came back 3 different directions on this one. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. I'm sorry, but we're just going to go with Jose. Jose was a brother, a father, a friend who was loved by many around the world. He had family in Spain, Argentina, Mexico, Canada, the United States. He loved to fish, and he loved to be around his friends. They considered him a very jovial individual, but a hard worker, someone who never really knew when to turn his motor off and when to stop. He just kept on striving for more and more and more. And unfortunately, his path crossed with Aaron Hoult, and the outcome wasn't all that great. He also loved working on cars, singing, and he loved comedy. His favorite comedian was Carlos Mencia. He was someone that a lot of his friends considered adventurous. And according to his the statement that is on the memorial site for him webpage, Jose also was someone who always rooted for the underdog. Not you. Not him. He's not the underdog. All right. On to the actual case. Aaron Hoult, age 25, killed Jose, as you can already guess. He brutally stabbed him to death in Weld County, Colorado. Matter of fact, a couple of the detectives who worked this case also worked on the Christopher Watts case as well. And 2 or 3 of the uniformed police officers and sergeants in that case were involved in this case. Where Christopher Watts' case took place in Frederick, this took place in Greeley. So not that far away. But a lot of the cities around there, they use the same detectives. They share resources because it's cheaper to share a resource than it is to go without completely. So Aaron Hoult pled guilty the other day to 1 count of second-degree murder for the August murder of Jose. And going back to the August date of the actual murder, in August of 2017, firefighters were called out to a report of a fire on 11th Street in Greeley, Colorado, to a detached garage. And when they got there, it was The garage was fully engulfed. It was what they call a code 3 or a level 3 fire. I'm not sure, about the levels, but that is what the report said was a level. It was they considered it a level 3 fire. So the Weld County District Attorney Anthony Pereira said in a statement, Aaron Hoult stabbed Mr. Jose 21 separate times, and the brutality of the 21 stabbings was not enough. He not only stabbed him 21 times, but Aaron stabbed him and then stood over his body, making sure that he was dead, and watched him slowly bleed to death. Then, after he was done with that, he calmly walked into the garage, picked up a can of gasoline, and doused the inside of the garage and its belongings with gasoline. But no, not right away. First, he removed a couple items from the garage that he cherished, that he wanted. A couple of these items were his. A couple of the other items he decided he wanted to take from his soon-to-be dearly departed friend, who was slowly bleeding to death on the ground. Excuse me. So then, when he finally realized that Jose was dead and had completely, had bled to death in the single-car detached garage, he calmly lit the fire, closed the door, locked it, and walked away. So, the brutality of his crime was something above and beyond. Would it be something that a sociopath would do? We can throw out names left and right. Monster is the one that the DA went with, and that's the one I'm going to choose to go with as well. So Hoult was originally charged with first-degree murder and one count of arson in the first degree. But just like in the Christopher Watts case, he took a plea deal and pled guilty to one second-degree murder charge. In exchange, they dropped the first-degree murder and the arson charge. And Aaron was sentenced to 48 years. He is not eligible for good time, but he could be released in 30 years on parole. So, Aaron Hoult killed Jose Pacheco, or Pacheco, however you want to pronounce it. And I'm really sorry for not knowing the correct pronunciation for his name. A father, brother, friend, and fellow Christian. He was religious. For what? They don't know. And that was the one thing that baffled the DA to the very end. And even as part of the plea agreement, he had to admit to the crime, but he would not say in the statement that he had to, as part of the plea agreement, why he did it. We may never know. He may, a couple of months down the road, decide that he wants to make up a series of lies that kind of fit along with the evidence known in this case, and tell a couple of the detectives, why he did it, just like Christopher Watts. But what he will admit to and what is the truth, I don't know. I mean, they could be completely different things. There's a lot that Christopher Watts confessed to in his interview with the detectives from his prison in Wisconsin that doesn't match the forensic information that is known, and the detectives know that he was full of it. And we may never get the full truth out of Christopher Watts, and we very well may not get the full truth out of Aaron Hoult anytime in his lifetime either. So that's what happened in this case. So I'd like to give a shout out to the person who brought this case to my attention, Marie Pern, who is a supporter of my channel and my content on Patreon. She's one of my newer subscribers and supporters over there on Patreon. She sent me this story, and I did the research for this story with along with the 9 News article, and I also, just like with the Christopher Watts case, followed it up with research I did with the Weld County District Court, their third district court there in Weld County, to get information about Jose, along with the memorial page that is on Facebook and the information that is online on his online obituary and memorial page. It is where I got the information about him. So now you know more about the victim, the murderer, Aaron Hoult. We don't need to know any more about him, other than he did and committed a very senseless act, a very selfish act that was not needed. As far as anyone knows, there is nothing that Jose has ever done in his entire life that was remotely criminal or unethical. I mean, everyone that I could see that has commented on his memorial page or his Facebook page or anything, they have nothing but the best to say about him. You know, maybe they're those pages are edited, but I don't know. Or maybe people just who he never got along with didn't comment. I don't know. I don't know that information. I just can go by what information is out there. The same as anybody else who researched this. So again, thank you, Marie Pern, for the suggestion. And if you would like to support this channel on Patreon, the link is in the video description of every video that I put out. And I appreciate each and every one of my Patreons, and thank you again for tuning in and watching today's video. You stay safe out there. Even you, Brian. Even Brian.